Hey everyone. Um, yeah, I wanted to get on, share a little bit about my thoughts on failure. I've seen a lot of y'all's comments about, hey, I tried to do this and I failed, and I tried to go through one special operations course or another and just didn't make it. Don't know what to do. Or I'm seeing all my friends, and they're getting to go do this cool guy stuff, and I'm stuck at some crappy job. So I just wanted to bring that up and talk about it, because that's tough. It's a tough place for anybody to be. I know because I was there, and a lot of you guys have been there, and some of you may, God forbid, be there. So, but you know what? The thing about failure is it's probably one of the most underrated tools to self-development out there that I know of. And so while none of us go looking for failure, I think it's important for us to learn to embrace it, in the sense that it makes us become better men. So there's this mentality that an alpha man, a leader, a real man, he just never fails. And the problem with that mentality is it's just very unrealistic. And if there is a masculine man out there that's never failed, he's very weak inside. And I don't want you guys to be weak men that just fake it all the time. And that's what you'll be if you never learn to embrace your failures and grow from them. So the first stage, I'm just going to give you an example from my life that I've seen. So the first stage, I believe, once you've received failure is in fact, the stages may be similar to grief or something like that, but it's just you get angry, you're upset. Eventually, you go all through these ranges of emotions. Eventually, you accept the fact that you screwed up. And some guys never seem to get to this. They always blame it on other people. If you find yourself blaming it on someone else, even though there's a million things that you could blame it on besides yourself, you're robbing yourself of the next steps to healing, the next steps to growing as a man. So really, ultimately, you have to get to the point where you take responsibility for what happened, and you own up to that, and you realize that you made a mistake. There is something that you could have done, even if you didn't really understand it at the time, that would have helped you get through. And sometimes, I'm sure there's some scenarios where that may be not always the clear case, but at the very least, our responses and how when we try to go to accomplish something, if there's something that we screwed up, we have to take responsibility for that. But also, really, everything that happens around us, we have to start taking responsibility for us. There's Jocko Willink does a great podcast in which he talks about, and a book which he talks about extreme ownership, and I highly recommend that book. So just because it'll really teach some of these principles. So the first step's accepting your role in the failure, the fact, taking full responsibility for what happened for yourself, even if you don't feel like it, you deserve it. And then the next step is recovering from that. Our ego takes a hit when we fail, and we begin to view those people that didn't fail as if they're superior to us, and that really hurts us because we know them. We know that they're dirtbags, or we know how they mess up, and especially when it's our friends and we thought we were better than them, and then they somehow make it through. That's tough. So you got to realize, just because someone else didn't fail doesn't mean that they're a better person than you. They were a better soldier in that moment, or a better businessman, or whatever your situation is, in the sense that they were ready for the task, or they were in the right position. Maybe they got lucky. There is some luck involved when it comes to special operations, but I think there's also a lot of being in the right place in the right time, and some people have that mentality. Or they get to know the right people. So we can't blame it all on luck, but you take you just realize that you are a man, and that other man that made it is not a better man than you. And I think that seems obvious to us in our heads, but sometimes it's hard for us to grab onto and really believe. So I think that's important to really mull over. And the second thing is, there are lessons to learn in every failure. You think of, okay, what did I do wrong, and how can I make sure I do that again? In my case, I left a rubber ducky, a fake weapon, at a tree. Yeah, I realized it a minute later and ran back to get it. A couple of minutes later, it wasn't just a minute, and it was gone. I never, ever left my weapon unattended after that, because it was so burnt in me. And I'm one of those people that I sometimes have to learn lessons the hard way. I can be very absent-minded when I'm not forced to pay attention. So that was a personal defect in myself that came out, and I really had to work on it. And in other aspects, I'm still working on it. But some of us will learn lessons, take responsibility, and find, how am I going to not let this happen again? And in that process, you become better men. You become more solid men, more well-rounded men. And that grows you as a man, and that prepares you for the next task. Because I think the worst thing you can do is to have a dream, watch it die, and then give up on dreaming. I think that's wrong, because that dream was just the first step in a staircase of life. And you have plenty of other dreams that you can go. Maybe you'll fail at some of those dreams too, but eventually you're going to hit a dream that you're actually prepared for, you're ready for, and you will crush that dream, and you'll keep moving forward. So don't take failure as this wall. It's not, it's a step. You get on top of that step and you keep going. That's my thoughts for today. Thanks everybody for making this a great community.